Good evening, everyone. It's Timothy again, and welcome to part 2 of Getting Started with Ember. I apologize for the abrupt ending of my previous video, as I had some problems with my recording software, and I moved over to some new software. So we're just going to continue on from where we ended. And last time, we only got our environment set up, and I showed you how to get the Ember starter kit running, and this is what you saw before we could start doing any code. I said, well, this is your first Ember app running. So as you can see, at the moment it's showing welcome to Ember.js, and then an unordered list of colors, red, yellow and blue. So if we go over into our IDE over here and look at our index file, which is how it will be displayed in your IDE. It's a basic HTML index file with the JavaScript imports at the bottom, and then some script tags over here and over here. And now we'll be talking about this first. So first of all, this is an Ember template script. This is going to be reused in all the routes that link to this. And at the moment, this is our root link, root, which will be used in all the routes from the beginning. So that's why it is displaying right at the top. You'll see welcome to Ember.js, and in the tag there is the welcome to Ember.js heading tag over there. Don't worry about the outlet yet. We will get that to that eventually or in a future tutorial. So first of all, I'd like to go down here to display this template that we have here. This is an Ember template of an unordered list that runs through the basic model. For each item in that model, it displays a list item. So this is a for each action of the item in the model that is a basic model for the index template. So if you go look over here, you'll see that the ID is index, and just keep that in mind as we continue through the tutorial. So let's extend our functionality first from displaying red, yellow and blue to see how we can actually view the changes. How we do that is by expanding our JavaScript library, and then down here you will see the app.js library script. You open this. If you open this, you can see over here we have the app namespace that is instantiated as ember.application.create. So it creates the application in here. If you look further down, you will see the app.router.map function, which is empty at the moment, which is fine. And then over here, the app.indexRoot equals ember.root.extend, and it has a model inside of it that returns red, yellow and blue. Okay, so what this does is that instantiates a root object for the index template. So, or actually, it instantiates an index root that links to the index template. So let's see if what happens when we add more items to this list. Say for instance we add we add orange, we add pink, and we add and we add pink and say green to this list. So what would you expect to happen is that somehow these extra items will now be part of the list. So if you recall, in the index file, when we display the list is on the index page of our application, and as I mentioned before, it lists through each item in the model. So if we go back to apps, we will see that this instantiates a model and returns something from that. So in index, when we say for each item that is in the model, it loops through a list. So let's see what happens when we go back to our Ember application and we refresh. Okay, so now we can see that red, yellow, blue, orange, pink, and green is now attached to that. So this is just displaying that when we update a model in our application, it also updates the template that we view on the screen, because this template is displayed on the screen when the root or the index root is called. In this case, the index root is called automatically, as you know, by Ember or by any HTML page, by just going to the root of the page. So now let's get into creating our first root of our own. So to create our first root, we first need to create a template to display on the page. So what we'll do to create a new template is we will copy the script from here, and let's just paste it back down here, and we can remove this because it is not necessary. And let's change the text in here to say, this is my first route. And then we also have to add an index. We also have to add an ID, ID, not index, to this tag that can be uniquely identified. So we will call this our first root test. Okay, so we have a new script, a new template tag created using the handle that is of type handlebars, and it is called, or its ID is first root test. So back to our app. Now we will use the router.map function to add in a new route for us. So how we do this is we type in this to reference the router.map.route function, and this function takes two elements. First of all, it takes a name for the route, and this name will be the same as the template we just created. So we'll just copy that name into the name part of that, and then we have to add the second part, which is a name value pair that has the name path, and then the second part of it is our actual path that we will be typing into the browser. And in this case, we will call that first route test. First route test path, and we'll save that. So what happened here is now we have created a new route. Oh, already see a problem there. This is supposed to be route, not route. By adding the first route test name with the path, first route test path. Okay, so let's see what happens when we reload our Ember application. So over here, we still have the starter kit master, we have the root, and we can still see that it is still on the index page. Okay, so how do we access our root? We access our root that we've just created by typing in # / and now the path that we've just created for the root, which is first test. Oh, sorry, that is first route test path. And we enter that. Seems like something went wrong. Let me reload it. Oh, there we go. So sometimes by just entering, it doesn't reload the application correctly. So just refresh over here or press F5. So now you can see that welcome to Ember is still displaying, but the unordered list is now removed, and it says this is my first route. So if we return to our IDE, and in the index page, you will see that the new template that we created over here, it had the name first route test, and in the app, the first route test mapped to the path first route test path, which is what we used in our browser, first route test path. So by typing in first route test path, the application maps that path to this route name, which will in turn load this template into the view and remove any other unmatching templates. Now you may ask why welcome to Ember.js is still being displayed. And as you can see, it has no tag name. And this is to tell you that it is the root template, and it will be displayed on every single page that of your Ember application. Okay, so now we have created a root that links to a template, and this is all fine and well, but what happens when we want to do something with the code, with the view? So let's duplicate, copy this, and we will add another one. Oh, sorry about that. I meant to copy this. And let's say we add the word click me. Okay. So for now, we've added the tag click me, and if you go into your browser and we refresh it, it will now have it in your view as click me, my first route, welcome to Ember. And if you look at the index again, you can see this is because we are linked to first route and we've just changed its template. Okay, but now what we're going to do is define our first route's properties. So how do we do this? To create a first route's properties, we are going to add or extend an Ember route that links to this route. Okay, so we're going to create a router that extends to this route. So we do this by typing in app dot, And here's something that is strange but important. Note how we typed first route test up here as lowercase and delimited. We will be typing in the same word in there, so let's just copy this. Okay, so it's in there delimited as it is, but we have to write it undelimited, camel case, but different to convention, also a capital first letter. I noticed that I misspelled first route, but that won't make a difference until unless I change it here, which means I'll have to change it everywhere. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So it is now first route test, and it is going to extend the Ember route. So what we need to do is give the keyword route right at the end, just to tell Ember that when it sees this object, that it is a route object. So we need to say that the first route test route that we've defined needs to extend. So it's going to be Ember dot route dot extend. Okay, seems like I'm struggling a little bit with my IDE tonight as well. Extend, and then close that off, and then add curly braces. Okay, so now we have an empty route object. So this route object will contain parameters for the route that we go to. It can contain basic functions and etc. that contain and can also contain data. So what we're going to try and do now is say hello to the world through our first Ember application. So if we return back to the index and we note that we added a click me on this h2 tag, then let's just make that an h3 so it's a little bit smaller. And then what we'll need to do is link an action to this object or this tag. So how we do that is by using the handlebars templating and creating a action keyword to tell Ember it is going to perform an action, and then by typing in a name, and let's call it clicked action. So in this case what will happen is that Ember will know that you want to perform an action called click action, and then what it will do is it will first look in the Ember controller that is linked to the first root test path or first root test route, and if it does not have a controller defined by you, it will have an automatically created one that is not visible, but it will be automatically created, and it will look in there for this action, and when that action is not found, it will look in the route object. So what we're going to do is we're going to forget about the controllers for now and concentrate on finishing our route object for now. So we go back to the application where we've created our route object. So now what we want to do is add a function in here that it will instantiate some action. So how we do this is by using the actions with an S, actions keyword, and it is a list of objects, and each of them takes a name. So it is the clicked action that we defined over in the index file, the clicked action. Just make sure that is correct. Clicked action. It has to match exactly. And then we say, if a clicked action is called, it has to perform a function. And what's going to happen in that function is we are going to alert and say hello world, this is my first Ember route, and we save that. So now what we've done is we have created a route name that links to a path name. So this is an actual Ember route, the actual Ember route that we used in the browser. This is its name. It has a template linked to that name, and now it has an Ember route object linked to that name as well. So if we look back in our index, inside the template that is already linked to that route object, we have said we want to perform an action on this h3 tag called clicked action. And when we go back to the app, we see that we've created a list of actions. This is a keyword of Ember that it needs to know to look in this array for the action to perform. Otherwise it will say no action is performed, cannot find the action, and it looks for clicked action and then performs whatever is inside this function. Okay, so let's save that off and then go back to our browser. See, it's still in first root test path. We reload and you'll see that the click me has become smaller because we made it an h3. And now if I click on it, it says hello world, this is my first Ember route. Okay, so that is the basics of creating your first Ember route. I've also shown you quickly how you can use a model that is linked to the index and expand on it to show you that it does dynamically change. And I have shown you how to add a new route to your Ember, how to link it to a script, a template by using the ID, and then by defining a route object by using the name, undelimited, camel case with a capital first letter, and the keyword route afterwards, and the Ember route extend function to add an action called clicked action to that. So just to view this again, it is welcome to Ember, this is my first route, and click me, hello world, this is my first Ember route. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment below if there was something that was unclear, and have a good evening.